Usually, when we talk about love, we treat it like, well, kind of like a business contract.
Yeah, a transaction.
Right, a total transaction. Like you give me affection and I give you loyalty, and as long as our emotional spreadsheet balances out at the end of the day, society points at us and says, there it is.
A successful relationship.
Exactly, a successful relationship. We like the transaction because it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly where you stand, and more importantly, you can measure your return on investment.
Yeah, you can quantify it.
Right. But today we're doing a deep dive into something that totally shatters that. We are looking at the insights of Andrea.
She's an end-of-life caregiver.
Yes, and the author of Keeper of Final Moments. And, when you look at love from the perspective of someone who literally watches people take their final breaths, that entire emotional spreadsheet just goes completely out the window.
It really does.
So, just to be clear on our mission today, we are looking at Andrea's book and her website, but we aren't here to talk about death.
No, not at all.
We are here to talk strictly about what standing at the threshold of death taught Andrea about love, and how redefining love is the ultimate key to living fully right now.
Yeah, and the transactional model of love that you mentioned, it's comforting to us because it gives our ego a sense of control over the unpredictable.
Because love is terrifying.
It is. We are fundamentally wired to protect ourselves from being depleted, right? Evolutionary psychology tells us to conserve our resources, and we've mistakenly categorized love as a finite resource.
Like food or shelter.
Exactly like food. We think if we give too much of it away to someone who doesn't give it back, we'll starve emotionally.
Right, I'll run out of love.
Right. So we build these rigid contracts. But Andrea's perspective, forged by sitting with people at the absolute threshold of life, it forces us to abandon that scarcity mindset.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately, because I want to challenge this idea of love not being a transaction.
Sure.
Because most of us think of love as a feeling, right? It's a feeling that is triggered when someone treats us right, or a bond we form over time. If a friend betrays my trust or a partner cheats on me, the contract is breached. The feeling stops. I shut the love off to protect myself.
That's the standard operating procedure for most of us.
Yeah. But Andrea completely flips this definition on its head, right? She argues that love isn't something you can just switch off when the terms of your contract are violated.
She pulls love entirely out of the realm of human emotion.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. She places it closer to the realm of physics, really.
Physics?
Yeah. Andrea views love as a foundational infinite energy. It's the literal fabric of existence. To use her exact phrasing from the book, love is the energy from which all life and living forms are created. Love is not an emotion that we can turn off and on when we get hurt.
Wow.
Yeah. So when someone betrays you, the anger or the betrayal you feel, those are emotions.
Right.
Those are temporary neurological states. But the love she is talking about is the underlying current of your existence.
It's more like gravity or like electricity.
Exactly. Think about the power grid. You don't control the electricity pulsing through your city.
Right.
When you get hurt and decide to shut off the love, you aren't actually stopping the universal flow of that energy.
What are you doing then?
You are just constricting your own wiring. You are putting up a dam in a flowing river.
Oh, I see.
The water doesn't disappear, it just builds up pressure and causes a flood.
It wreaks havoc internally.
Precisely. And Andrea points out in her writing, she says, there is so much simplicity to love, not to be confused with complexity.
But we make it so complex.
We make it incredibly complex. The complexity, the neurosis, the overthinking, that only arrives when we try to hoard it or control it or measure who deserves it. The energy itself just flows.
Okay, but if love is just this free-flowing energy like electricity, the obvious problem is that electricity can shock you.
Sure.
I mean, why does loving people cause us so much pain if it's supposed to be this natural constant? Because, let's be real, love hurts people deeply.
Well, what's fascinating here is that Andrea would argue the pain doesn't come from the love itself.
It doesn't.
No, the pain comes from the hoarding.
The hoarding.
Yeah. We experience pain when we try to trap an infinite energy inside a finite expectation.
Oh, that makes sense.
Andrea makes a very clear distinction here.
Yeah.
She says holding on is a byproduct of fear and the ego. It is not a byproduct of love.
That flies in the face of every romantic movie ever made.
Oh, completely.
Pop culture equates clinging with caring. Like, holding on tight, saying, I'll never let you go. That is supposed to be the ultimate romantic ideal.
Right.
We are taught that if you don't cling to someone, you don't actually care about them.
We mistake the fear of abandonment for the depth of our devotion.
Oh, wow. Say that again.
We mistake the fear of abandonment for the depth of our devotion.
That is heavy.
It is. When we hold on to people or memories or specific outcomes, we are doing it because we are terrified of the void they might leave behind.
Right.
We look at a partner and think, if I lose you, I lose a fundamental part of my own identity.
Which feels like love, but you're saying.
It isn't love. That is the ego defending its territory. Love, because it is an infinite energy, doesn't need to cling to a specific form to exist.
I want to ground this in the everyday because the psychology of ownership is so deeply ingrained in us.
Definitely.
There's a moment in the source material Andrea shares about a friend giving her a gift. It's a rock with all these intricate engravings all over it.
Yeah, the engraved rock store.
Right, and she sits with it, cherishes it, notices every little detail, the art, the symbolism. But her internal dialogue about this physical object is what changes the paradigm for me. She tells herself, it's mine for now.
It's mine for now. Just recognizing that something is yours for now shatters the illusion of ownership.
Because we want to own things permanently.
Right. Our egos want to believe we can permanently possess things, experiences, and especially people.
Yeah.
But the reality of existence, which is painfully obvious to an end-of-life caregiver like Andrea, is that we eventually leave everything.
We take none of it with us.
Exactly. And what's counterintuitive is that knowing the rock is temporary doesn't make her appreciate it less.
It actually allows her to experience it more fully, right?
Yes. She knows she doesn't have to protect it forever. She just gets to enjoy it right now. She notes in the book that learning to let go can only happen with grace when you expand your perception of love.
You move it from this is my property forever to this is an experience I am privileged to channel right now.
And she takes that even further with a concept that fundamentally changes how we interact with the world. She states, quote, "If I am in love, I will know that it's all mine and it's not mine. I am flowing love in motion, in creation, in the inhale and exhale breath."
The breath analogy. That is the only way this clicks for me mechanically.
It's a great analogy.
Because you cannot physically hold your breath forever.
You pass out.
Right. The
Yeah.
air is yours for the few seconds it is in your lungs, giving you life, and then you have to let it go so you can take the next breath. If you try to hold on to that one perfect breath of air because you love it so much, you will literally suffocate yourself.
Letting go is just the exhale.
Yeah.
It is a biological and energetic necessity. You have to let the energy flow back out of you into the world so new energy can flow in.
Okay, I see.
That is how Andrea dictates we must experience love. If you resist the exhale, whether out of fear or nostalgia or stubbornness, you are actively resisting life itself.
Okay, but let's test the limits of this breath analogy.
Let's do it.
Because this is where the philosophy usually hits a wall in the real world for me. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's say I am just walking around, giving love freely, exhaling this energy to everyone, and completely letting go of the outcomes.
Okay.
And I have a friend who constantly cancels plans, or a romantic partner who starts pulling away and ignoring my needs.
Right, a real-world scenario.
If I just keep pouring my energy into them without asking for anything in return, aren't I just being a doormat?
That's lit.
I mean, doesn't giving everything mean I lack self-worth?
That is the immediate logical pushback from a society built on the scarcity mindset.
Because my friends would tell me to drop them.
Exactly. We tell our friends, where is your self-respect? Stop giving them your love. They don't deserve it.
Right. Protect your energy.
But Andrea shoots this down entirely. She separates the concept of personal boundaries from the concept of loving energy.
Oh, interesting.
Society tells us that giving freely means you don't value yourself. Andrea argues the exact opposite.
Which is what?
That true giving actually requires absolute wholeness.
Okay.
She says, quote, "You can't give deeply unless you already know your worth. That kind of giving comes from wholeness, not a state of lack."
So the person who is withholding love, like the person playing games, waiting 3 hours to text back so they don't seem desperate,
Yeah, the typical dating games.
they are actually the ones operating from a state of lack.
Absolutely. They are terrified of running out of value. They are using the other person's reaction to fill their own cup.
Right. They need the validation.
They give a little affection, and if they don't get the desired reaction back, they feel depleted.
But if you already know your cup is inherently full.
Then you can pour it out endlessly.
Wow. Okay, but what about the friend who cancels?
You can still set a boundary with that flaky friend. You can say, I'm not going to invite you out anymore because you can't pull.
Okay, so boundaries still exist.
Yes. But you don't have to contract your heart and harbor resentment. You can still hold love for them as a human being.
You just don't make plans for Tuesday night.
Right. Andrea gets incredibly direct about this in the book. She insists, quote, self-worth is you. You are worthy. What does that have to do with anyone else's worth? Being giving does not stem from having low self-worth.
What does it have to do with anyone else's worth? That is such a good question.
It changes everything.
Because we constantly measure our value by how others metabolize our giving. Like, I gave my partner all the support while they were studying for their exams, and they barely thanked me, therefore I must be unlovable.
We link the two things together constantly.
But Andrea separates those two variables entirely.
Your worth is a universal constant in her framework. Their reaction is solely about their current capacity to receive, which has nothing to do with your inherent value.
Right.
And understanding that leads to Andrea's most radical idea.
Which is?
The joy of love is entirely self-contained in the act of giving it, regardless of the receiving.
That breaks the transactional model into pieces.
That shatters it.
You're saying the payoff isn't what comes back. The payoff is the feeling of the energy leaving your hands.
The act of expressing love is an experience you are having with your own soul. The joy is in the expression itself.
Mm-hmm.
She captures this with a very intense mandate in the book. She says, if you are not giving with all your heart and all your soul and all your might, you ain't living.
You ain't living.
Exactly. She isn't talking about being rewarded for giving. She is talking about the physical, spiritual sensation of letting the current run through you at full capacity.
It's like a musician playing a guitar solo in an empty room.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
They aren't holding back just because there's no audience to applaud. The joy is in playing the instrument.
Yes.
But when another person is involved, there is the risk of rejection. If you play that solo for someone and they look at you and say, I hated that, it hurts.
It does hurt, but fear of that hurt robs you of the experience of your own greatness.
Right.
Andrea applies this to her own romantic experiences and reaches a level of invulnerability that is really hard to fathom for most of us.
What does she say?
She declares, quote, I would rather experience the pain and sorrow that comes with rejection than not experience the greatness that comes from expressing my love.
Wow. Because we normally think of invulnerability as building a fortress.
Thick walls.
Yeah, thick walls, nobody gets in, nobody can hurt me. But she is redefining invulnerability as standing completely in the open, giving everything, and knowing that even if they reject you, they cannot take away the joy you experienced in the act of loving them.
Because the greatness belonged to you the whole time.
The greatness belonged to you. That is amazing.
It is absolute self-ownership. She tells a story on her site about a former lover, someone where the dynamic had clearly shifted, and she summarizes her stance with this defining quote, there is nothing you can do that will make me stop loving you. Nothing.
You know, that could easily be misinterpreted as a trauma response.
Oh, for sure.
Like someone trapped in an abusive cycle refusing to leave.
Right, but you have to look at it in the context of her framework. In her framework, it's a declaration of sovereignty.
Yeah, like, my love isn't dependent on your behavior.
Exactly.
My love is an energy I am choosing to channel, and you don't have the power to turn off my switch.
It's the ultimate reclamation of power. She retains control over her internal state. She won't let someone else's poor behavior turn her into a bitter, constricted person.
Okay, so what does this all mean for us? Let's bring this down to the pavement.
Sure.
How do we take this profound, death-defying philosophy and apply it tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, because most of us aren't sitting at the bedside of the dying having these massive spiritual revelations.
No, we're not.
We are stuck in traffic. We are dealing with passive-aggressive coworkers. We are navigating the mundane friction of daily relationships.
Just trying to get through the day.
Exactly. How does Andrea's definition of love dictate how we actually live on a random Tuesday?
Well, to live fully in the everyday, we have to systematically dismantle our ego's defenses.
Which is hard.
Very hard. We have to stop walking into our offices or our living rooms expecting other people to validate our existence.
Okay.
This requires a level of radical self-responsibility that is deeply uncomfortable. You have to become entirely responsible for your own emotional experiences.
So no more blaming my bad mood on my coworker.
Right. Andrea operates on this brutal, brilliant rule. She says, quote, never ask for anything you don't already give.
Oof. That is a mirror I don't always want to look into.
It's confronting, isn't it?
It really is. Because if you want patience from your boss, are you actively radiating patience?
Usually not.
No. Or if you want unconditional acceptance from your partner, are you actually offering it to them? Or are you secretly keeping a tally of their flaws?
We almost always demand what we are failing to provide.
That is so true.
You cannot experience outside what you haven't cultivated inside.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea emphasizes this. She says, the relationship you have with yourself is the relationship you will experience with others.
Right.
If your relationship with yourself is highly conditional, like if you only love yourself when you succeed or when you look a certain way.
Then that is exactly the judgmental lens you will project onto everyone around you.
Precisely.
And when someone triggers us, right, when that coworker makes a snide comment and we feel ourselves instantly contracting, shutting off the love, preparing for war, that trigger is actually a roadmap.
The trigger reveals the barrier.
The barrier.
Yeah. This inner work, this dismantling of the ego in real time, is perfectly captured by a quote from the poet Rumi that Andrea incorporates into her outlook.
I love Rumi. What's the quote?
Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it.
Ah, so the electricity is already running through the house.
It's always running.
We don't have to go out and manufacture the power. We just have to find where we've put up drywall over the outlets out of fear or shame or past trauma and tear it down.
That's a perfect way to visualize it.
Mm.
And you find the barriers by noticing when you restrict your breath,
Right.
when you tighten your chest,
Right.
when you start keeping score. Those are the moments you are actively resisting the flow of life.
But tearing down that drywall means you expose yourself to the raw wires.
Yes, you do.
Living fully means being willing to feel what happens when those barriers come down. It means experiencing everything.
The good and the bad.
Yeah, Andrea uses this analogy of the lotus flower growing in the mud. Living fully isn't just seeking the sunlight and trying to aggressively ignore the dirt.
No, it's not.
It's recognizing that the mud, the sorrow, the pain of rejection, it is all necessary material for the expansion of love. We don't get to select only the comfortable, happy emotions and claim we are living a full life.
Because a curated life is a limited life.
A curated life.
You can't put a ceiling on your potential for pain without simultaneously putting a ceiling on your capacity for joy.
They are tied together.
They are two ends of the same spectrum. The people Andrea observes who are most at peace at the end of their lives are not the ones who successfully avoided pain.
Who are they?
They're the ones who didn't hold back. They let the energy flow through them. They felt the sorrow. They felt the ecstasy. They inhaled and they exhaled.
To bring all of this together, I think Andrea has given us a blueprint that flips our everyday interactions completely upside down.
She really has.
She teaches us that love is not this fragile transactional emotion that we need to fiercely protect and hide away the second someone hurts our feelings. It is an infinite foundational energy that we are meant to channel generously. To live fully is to give love without conditions, to let go without fear of losing a piece of your identity, and to recognize your own unshakable internal worth.
It challenges the very core of how we protect ourselves.
It really does.
But it leaves us with a necessary, provocative question to examine in our own lives.
What's that?
If Andrea is right, if love is indeed an infinite energy flowing through us, like electricity or breath, then what happens to that energy when we clench our fists and refuse to let it out?
Wow.
If energy cannot be destroyed, does the love we stubbornly withhold out of fear actually crystallize inside us as the very pain, resentment, and anxiety we were trying to avoid in the first place?
If you hold your breath to keep the air safe, you suffocate yourself. I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the insights from Keeper of Final Moments.
This has been a great conversation.
Wherever you are right now, whatever you are doing, take a deep breath. Let it go. Stop measuring the exchange rate on your emotional spreadsheet today. Tear down one piece of drywall and just see where your energy flows.